A while ago I did the original Mortal Kombat film, and recently we have actually had the announcement trailers that another live action reboot of Mortal Kombat is coming. But there was a sequel that was amazing, wasn't it? No, I'm pretty sure that they went out to completely and utterly ruin Mortal Kombat with this film. Wanna know what I mean? Let's find out. Mortal Kombat Annihilation is a 1997 American martial arts fantasy film directed by John R. Leonetti. It's a sequel to the 1995 film Mortal Kombat. The film basically follows the story of Mortal Kombat 3, where Shao Kahn has flouted the rules of Mortal Kombat and invaded Earth, and the heroes have 6 days to try and save the planet. When the film was released, it was near enough universally panned by both fans and critics, resulting in the third film being cancelled. So what was wrong with it? Well, quite a lot actually wrong with this film, but here you go, here are 10 things wrong with Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Number 10, no press screening. So when a film's released, they always do a press screening for movie critics. Not me, obviously, I'm not big enough, but you know, the big, well-known, famous ones, and they can actually make or break a film. Now this film did not actually have a press screening. And unfortunately, all that means is, hey, we've got a rubbish film, we don't need you to tell everyone it's rubbish. So when you don't do press screenings, you just have putting a big red flag up saying, bad film. And that was before the film came out. Yeah, they knew this film was bad. Number 9, recasting. With the exception of Robin Shou, who plays Liu Kang, and Talisa Soto, who plays Katana, everybody, and I mean everybody, was recast. And it wasn't for a good reason. Now, if you look around, the reports either they had other film projects or they thought the film was script. Translation, they thought the script was rubbish, so they got another project instead. Nobody wanted to do this film. I'm surprised Robin Shou and Talisa Soto actually did this film. But yeah, before the film started filming, people knew this film sucked just by looking at the script. Number 8, forget the rules. The biggest thing about Mortal Kombat is you have to win 10 Mortal Kombats in a row to actually be allowed to conquer another realm. That's the rules, that's always from the games. Even the first film got it right. And in the first film, they'd won 9, this was the 10th one. Earth had to win it, otherwise they were allowed to be invaded. Earth won, so that's it. Obviously, Shao Kahn flouts the rules and goes and invades everywhere. And everyone keeps saying, but Earth is safe for another generation. No, it's not. It's safe for 10 generations. They have to win 10 in a row. Once they won that one, it was safe for at least 10 generations. Granted, Shao Kahn broke the rules, but still, did the screenwriters of this film actually watch the first film? That's something the first film got right, and you can't get that right. Number 7, you will die. There is a line in this film that is so bad, it's been panned by everyone. And what makes it worse is this line is at the very beginning of this film. Basically, Shiva comes along and points to the camera and goes, "You will die." And it is appalling. Now, I'm not a paid actor, so yes, that's appalling. But it was so bad, it just made the film so cheesy. Now, doing some research, it's down to one of 3 things that no one can actually agree on. Number 1, the script writing. It's the script writer wrote that line in like that, that's how come it's in there. We've already heard that the previous actors were not happy with the script, that's why they didn't return. So it's feasible. Number 2, it's the actress's fault. She actually performed that line. Is it her fault? Is it her fault that that line is so bad? I actually tried getting in contact with the actress to see if she could give her thoughts on it, but unfortunately that's a no-go. But then again, I'm a nobody YouTuber. Or number 3, is it the director's fault? Because let's face it, the director is the ultimate person in charge of this film. It's his responsibility. Was it his direction? Did he like the line? Why didn't he get the script changed? But the fact is, that line just ruins the rest of the film because you know that this film's just going to be cheesy throughout. Number 6, costume changes. Now, I'm not on about changing the costumes from the games to the film. I'm actually on about changing the costumes from the first film to the second film. Bearing in mind, there is no gap between the end of the first film and the beginning of this second film. In fact, so much so, the beginning of the second film actually happens at the end of the first film. Something Paul Anderson is good at doing, annoyingly. For example, first of all, Johnny Cage. His sunglasses got destroyed by Goro in the first film, yet he has them back. Sonya Blade, she actually was in some sort of ceremonial nothingness, and yet she's in full shorts and white vest top in the second film. Straight away, there's no opportunity. She was actually in it when the fighters were like, right, Shao Kahn, here we go. And that's just costumes from the first to the second film. The other things that seemed to take a downstep was the actual costumes of the coloured ninjas. Now, Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and hell, even Reptile, the costumes were perfect in the first film. They looked amazing, brilliant. Now, in the second film, they looked more like robotic uniforms. And yes, I know that there were robots in this film, which also looked appalling, but I didn't like the costume changes. Why couldn't you just have the costumes from the first film into the second film? Number 5, Shao Kahn leaving. So Shao Kahn's come to Earth, he's made his presence known, and he's beating, and he's already killed one of the Earthrealm warriors. Then he leaves. Why? Liu Kang needed to go and get training to beat Shao Kahn. You've actually given the opportunity for. Why not keep going? Now, in terms of story, you could have kept going and have the Earthrealm warriors escaping from Shao Kahn himself to come back later. That would have actually made more sense, not Shao Kahn leaving. And what makes it even worse is you actually find out that Shao Kahn was under instructions from Shinnok to actually take out the Earthrealm warriors, especially Raiden, and he didn't do it. Why? Number 4, special effects. Normally, I don't carry things over from the first film to the second film, hence why in this list you won't find anything about the lack of blood or gore or anything like that, because I said that in the first film, and that's an issue that didn't come over to the second film. But this one, I do have to. Now, I did say that the CGI effects in the first film weren't that great. So you would think in the second film they would be, a little bit better? No, they got worse! Seriously, how can a film that was made 2 years later get worse? Bear in mind, Independence Day was just about to come out, which was amazing on its special effects, and yet this film, it went backwards. Especially the creature animality fight at the end of the film. Hell, I think Clash of the Titans did better with their stop motion clay monsters than this film did with the CGI monsters. It was appalling. Number 3, not convincing fighters. Any film that's about fighting, one thing you need to have is the action on screen being convincing. We know full well they're not actually fighting, they're acting. That's what they do. But in this film, it did not look like that. It looked like the actors couldn't fight to save their lives. Now, some of that's down to the actors. They do need to learn and train how to do these moves. But some of it's down to the video editing. Video editing needs to be hiding the actors' shortcomings. That's also down to the directors to make sure the shot looks right so you cannot see an actor's shortcomings. Now, out of all the actors, Robin Shou is a brilliant fighter. You saw that from the first film. So in his fighting scenes, it still showed that he couldn't fight. Why was that? Because he wasn't actually acting the fight scenes. He was busy training everybody else how to fight. So you put a lesser person doing the fighting scenes, which makes him look bad. What the hell were these filmmakers doing? This film, I'm not being funny, I could do a better film, and I have a rubbish camera and a rubbish setup, and yet I could have done a better fight sequence than that. Maybe I can get one of my friends to do a pretend fight, see if we can do it. Number 2, mud fight. Okay, I'll be honest. There's a part of me that's a bit conflicting. 2 women having a fight in a pile of mud. Sounds good, doesn't it? Except that this film is a PG film. There's a time and a place for this. Pornhub, yes. Mortal Kombat, no. well, actually Mortal Kombat, yes, this version of Mortal Kombat is a no. It didn't do that good. Now, one thing I loved about the first film is it was very equal rights. Women weren't one step below. Sonya Blade, was up there with the men. She took out Kano. Now, up until this point in the film, she was still there, and then you did a stereotypical mud fight. It should not have been in this film, full stop. Number 1, family. Well, did you know that Raiden and Shao Kahn are brothers and both sons of Shinnok? No, nor did I actually. And I'm a fan of the games, and that never cropped up once in the game. Why did you actually add that to this film? One of the biggest praises the first film got was how close it came to the games. That was impressive. It was also one of the first video game films that was successful. Why? Because they kept it close to the games. And no, you just go and add something stupid and it... Oh. Final thoughts. Yeah, you may notice my frustration about this film, but that's because this film is so frustrating. How can you go from a film that was awesome and brilliant and just make it rubbish? Now, if it was like a B-movie direct-to-DVD, I could possibly understand, but they didn't. They actually put this in the cinemas. Why? You get the feeling it's never going to be in the cinemas. It was just appalling. End of. Everything, well, not everything. This film does have some good points. Yes, it does have some good points. Let me explain. One good thing that carried over from the first film was the soundtrack. And they got the soundtrack good again this time. That was brilliant. Also, Brian Thompson as Shao Kahn was a stroke of genius. He was perfect as the role, and yeah, can't say anything more than that, he was perfect as Shao Kahn. What else was good about this film? Yeah, sorry, I'm lost with this. Everything else was appalling. I mean, everything. I've only said 10 things, but I could actually quite easily go away and write another list of 10 more things wrong with Mortal Kombat Annihilation. This is how bad this film is. I had 10 items written down on my notepad and I was only 7 minutes into the film. That is how bad it is. Now, some of those things I have merged into 2 or 3 because otherwise I could make probably 100 things wrong with Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But that is how bad this film is. This is got to be the worst film I have ever reviewed in my life since I've been doing this. Anyway, let's get on to the rankings. I'm not even going to fight us about with this. 2. And I'm only giving you 2 because 1 for the soundtrack, 1 for Brian Thompson. That's it. You're being lucky with the 2. It should be 1, but I will stick with my 2. Wow, this film is bad. So, well, that's what I think. Yes, I really do not like this film. Is there anybody out there that likes this film? Please give your answers in the comments below. But yes, thank you very much for coming. Next week, it's Valentine's Day, so I'm going to pick a film that's all lovey-dovey. Now, I've got a film in mind, but in the meantime, has anyone got any suggestions? Put them in the comments below. It's up for debate at the moment, but I have got one in mind. If you want to get in touch with me, just type into any search engine at Berryman81. I am on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I am on Patreon, I'm on TikTok. Yeah, come and get in touch with me, come say hi. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Take care, bye-bye.